So today we're out here in the shop. We've got 250 hours on this excavator now. So I was wanting to do a quick little review. I'm doing the oil change. A lot of stuff I really like about it. There's a few things I don't really understand why they've done it, but that's with any machine. It says the 250 hours you're supposed to do just a engine oil sample. You're not really supposed to change it until 500 hours. But my general rule is 250 on any piece of equipment. Once the oil starts turning black, it usually starts trying to burn it, and it's just not worth trying to. It doesn't cost that much money to change the oil, so I do mine at 250. So anyways, on this machine, there's a few things off the top of my head I don't like. They put hitch pins in these for the thumb, and I've lost every one of them except for that one, and it's bent. One of them I literally lost the night I unloaded it and was trying to put just playing with the hydraulic quick coupler, messing with it, knocked one of them off. So I'm just going to put bolts on it and double nut it like it should be. But other than that, that's just one little thing that I can think off the top of my head. And getting into the cab, I like it. At first it was kind of, because everything's electronic nowadays, you know, the display comes on and it takes a while to change the radio. You got these quick buttons, and if you hit the radio button, it'll go to this, and then you have to use this knob to click up, down, left or right, and then to turn the volume up, you just turn, you spin the dial, and that turns the radio up and down. It's the same thing with the air conditioner. If you push that button, it'll take you that. Like I said, it'll take you back to the radio. If you hit the air conditioner button, it'll take you straight to the AC, and then you just scroll up and crank it left or right, and it turns it temperature. Same thing with the fans, up and down, you know. And then you go down here, and then you push down on this button to select it, and so you know, you can scroll over, and if you push down, then it goes back to that. So that takes a little bit of time. It's not really that big a deal. And then you got your home button, and it takes you back to this selection, and this is how you change your bucket. You know, you unlock it. It won't let me because the machine's not running. But one of the things I have learned about this machine is that when you're, because I got a tilt bucket, and so when you put your thumb all the way up and then you get ready to try to hook up your quick connectors, it's like mission impossible. If you leave the machine running and flip that up, even if you try to toggle it back down to take some of the pressure off the hydraulic cylinder, it will not equalize out. I don't know how that the electric over hydraulic works, but there's always pressure on that cylinder ram, positive pressure on one side of that ram pushing against it. So it's like mission impossible trying to hook up the quick connectors for my tilt buckets. What I've learned to do is just turn the machine off, turn the machine back on, let it come on, put the arm control down, and watch the bucket. And that's how much, that's just enough pressure now that you can, it's really easy to put to hook it up, you know, and then you just switch your valves over and you're good to go. But I really struggled with that 2 or 3 times. I was having to take a crescent and loosen the lines up, bleed the pressure off, and anyways, like on a skid steer machine, if you got back pressure on the line, you push hard enough, it pushes that valve up in there and it releases it. Well, they don't have that on this, so that's kind of something I figured out. And like I say, it was pretty frustrating for a little while, but overall I really like the machine. Like right now, I filled it up when it had 60 hours on it. I've got almost 7 hours on it. It does really good on the gas. you can go 20 hours on a tank of gas. I don't know what how many gallons it is. It's a pretty big tank, so, but not having to fill it up every day is pretty convenient. Like if you was just kind of idling around doing stuff, not digging dirt really hard all the time, I imagine 25-30 hours, but 20 hours for sure, because I was doing some ditch digging with an angle bucket, so I was running it pretty good. But if you're just doing a demo work and, you know, loading up trash and stuff, it'll go a long time. But the engine compartment seems to be pretty, you know, all your maintenance stuff is real easy to get to. It's not super congested, but it don't have DEF or none of that on there. I'm scared to death of that. I usually at 250 hours throw these in the trash, but this one you can still see the yellow in it. It's not really even that dirty. I mean, I clean them out every, you know, 10-20 hours. I'll dust them off. But I think just because it's an excavator and you're not pushing and stirring up as much dirt so close to the intake of the air, like a skid steer, you get in dusty situations every 10-20 hours, that thing is toast. So 250 hours, I usually trash them. 500, I do the inners. But this one I think will be fine. So we'll get a pan under it and start draining the oil out and go with it. I'm sure I'll add a few things that I'll remember along the way of this review. But as far as the debate on a 305 versus a 306 versus a 308 and all that, the 306 is a really good size. It's got enough power to break out concrete. You can knock down some pretty good timber with it. And it's still small enough to get in yards. The only thing that I found that I don't really like or is harder about this size of machine is the boom. If you get into a backyard that's got a lot of trees that you're not trying to take out and you're trying to dig a ditch under them or around them, sometimes you have to trim the trees up, and usually that's not a big deal. But if it's in a fancier yard, they won't let you trim the trees, and the boom is going to be hitting some of the bigger limbs, and so that's a drawback. The other drawback that I'm sure if I was in super tight conditions is it has a tail swing on it. It's not much, but I was doing some French drains. I didn't do a video on them, but I was doing some French drains here a while back, and I was trying to get really close to the shop and dig along it, and I couldn't. I mean, you can offset the boom enough, and you can, when you dig it out, you can kind of throw it to the side, but you really can't throw it far enough away from the building. You have to come back with a skid steer and tune it up. So that's kind of a, if I was doing a lot of stuff in the yards, I mean, you know, you'd probably want a 304 or 303 or 305, something with zero tail swing on it, a little bit smaller, especially if you was going to be trying to work under, you know, low power lines or trees, a lot of timber, because the boom becomes a pretty good factor. When that bucket, you know, you're digging pretty close, that bucket is, you know, 12 foot in the air. So, but the physical size of it and the cost of it, I really like the 306. I'm glad I didn't buy a 305, because I've done some stuff that the 305 probably wouldn't have been able to break out. Some of them concrete runners, foundations. But a 308 and a 310 would be nice too. You know, 312. I mean, you know, or a 60 series like John Deere or 65 Kubota. I think any of those machines is a great size. 14 to 16,000 pound machine. But this is the only machine that I've ever owned, so I can't tell you that it's better than, you know, a Yanmar or whatever. I really have good luck with Caterpillar stuff. Their parts are great. The service and stuff, you can call and talk to somebody, and I've never had to wait on any parts. And the hydraulic, they got their own hydraulic shop as far as the hoses go, so you give them a part number. By the time you get down there, it's already made. You pick it up and you get right back to work. Some of them other part supply on, you know, some of the other companies, you could be down for a couple of days on some of them parts. It's pretty bad, but you know, whatever's in your area, whatever you feel comfortable with, what do you end up with? They're all good machines, I think. So we'll get suited up so I don't keep running all my clothes, and see how this oil change goes. guess the mechanics input finally started getting good recognition. The 3 bolts on this side is slotted, so it just slides right out. You just got to take the back ones out. Usually on these belly pans, you got to take all the bolts out and balance it with one hand and try to get them started. It's a real pain in the ass on the dozer sometimes. But this is looks like 10 gauge. It ain't very heavy anyways. It's pretty cool. You just loosen those up and then slide it right out. So, piece of cake. So far, I mean, this probably wouldn't take 15 minutes to change oil on this. It's real simple. The belly pan comes right off. It's got a quick drain plug on it, which is good because I just started putting oil in it and forgot to close it. Who hadn't done that? But I don't know why they recommend 500 hours on the oil changes on these. The oil is already pretty black. 250 hours. It's his first oil change, so I don't know if that's really going to matter that much difference, but it doesn't cost that much money to change oil in these. Like I say, I buy the oil by the barrel. 55 gallons comes out to I think $11 a gallon. This holds 3 gallons, so that's $33 in oil. And even if the filter's 10 bucks, which I know it's not, shouldn't be, that's $40. So why not spend an extra $40 when the oil starts turning black and getting nasty at 250? If you did the math, you'd save 250 hours, but you only save $40. So what is that? 20 cents an hour? 2 cents an hour? Whatever it is, it's just not worth it. So anyways, we'll dump the rest of this oil in here and then go over a few more things and then we're done. Well, you know, I really didn't have any bitches about this 306, but I do now. Okay, here's the fucking dipstick. Excuse my language. Alright, the book says crankcase and oil filter capacity is 3 gallons or 11 liters. Maybe it's a misprint, I don't know, but it ain't 3 gallons what this thing holds. I put 3 gallons in it and it was up here. I could literally look down the dipstick hole and see oil. You know what I mean? I've been working on equipment for 20 years. It's not rocket science, right? Bad, normal. So I've drained about at least almost a gallon out of it. And we're still right here. We should be right here. So it's another half a gallon at least coming out of it. So I guess I'll be making a call to Caterpillar Monday. And maybe that specifications they've printed in this 306 is for 308 or 310. I don't know. But luckily, you know, I didn't just start it. Usually you get it, you pull dipsticks, get it close, fired up, let the filter, you know, and then re-pull it. But I don't know if it could have hydrolocked or what, but I'm sure it would have blown oil out of about every orifice of this thing if it was almost liquid up to the, I mean, that's, you know what I mean? Bottom of the pan is way down here. I had oil all the way up to here. Oh well. Alright, before all you keyboard warrior radio Rambos go off on how a trained monkey can change the oil, here's the book. This is like the first time I've ever read one of these as far as capacities go. Engine crankcase with filter, 11 liters. 11 liters comes out to 2.9 gallons. Right here, crankcase, engine crankcase with filter, 3 gallons. And I dumped 3 gallons in it. Usually you're real close, and technically I actually left the drain plug open and a quart or so run out before all this happened. But after I've drained out at least a gallon, you can see that it's probably, after I started, let it circulate, you know, it sucks it down a little bit, it's maybe a quart low right now. So I guess Monday I'll call Caterpillar and ask them if anybody else has complained about that one or not. So it just means the oil changes are even cheaper. You know, I mean, it only holds 2 gallons, not 3. So back to the doing it every 250 hours. There's no sense in trying to make 500 hours, trying to save 40 or 50 bucks. It just don't make any sense. Engine oil starts getting black. The engine starts burning it, and the wear. The amount of soot that's in the oil, you know what I mean, just starts wearing at the bearings and the cylinder walls. It just don't make any sense. So, and I'm sure some people take oil engine samples and send those off, and you know, blah blah blah, whatever. But it's one of the easiest to change oil changes I've done with anything with a pan on it by far. That pan, those 3 bolts just slides right off. It's got a quick drain cover on it, so it's pretty easy peasy. I just kind of disappointed in the literature being wrong as far as the volume capacities or whatever. So we'll get it topped off and get it out of the shop, and I'm gonna power wash it, put some more, fix them hitch pins. That was a bad deal, I don't know why, but overall it's a really good machine. I really like it, so I hope this helps somebody out on your decision making as far as the sizes go. You know, it's the only real limitation is how much you can afford, because 308 would be better, you know, and then you just, there's no end to it as far as the bigger the machine, the more you can get done. But you run into legal loads, hauling it around, what it costs, and that's the other downside of this. It's a 16,000 pound machine, so for me, it's not that big a deal. I mean, I got a CDL, I've got, you know, dual tandems, air brake trailer behind my dump truck. I could haul whatever I really needed. But if you're got a 3/4 ton and an 8 lug trailer, you're not going to be able to haul this around. Not very long. You're going to kill your trailer. You're going to be over on your weight for sure. You'll have to go to a 17.5 single axle or a dual tandem to haul this. So that'd probably be a big deciding factor for some folks, is the weight of the machine alone. But I'd love to have a 316 or 17, 15, whatever. 315C would be nice, but we'll see what's in the budget. Wrap this up and move on. I don't know how much you're going to be able to see this, but just if you've ever worked on any heavy machinery, you know how that. Sometimes you gotta have a floor jack to hold these up. It's such a pain. This is a pretty sweet little deal. Very simple. Probably the easiest oil changes on any equipment I've done so far. Like the skid steers, you always got to dig out 3 or 4 or 5 inches of dirt just to get to the drain plug. It's so low to the ground. Dozers, those are even worse. That's it. So usually after I change oil, I'll take a power washer, clean all the radiators out, blow the air filters out and all that, but I just done it on this last job, that demo job, because it sucked all that insulation in the air conditioner and it wouldn't get cool. So luckily I didn't just dump 3 gallons in it and fire it up and then check it, because it probably would have spit the dipstick out there in the parking lot and puked oil into the intake through the EGR or whatever, and I don't know what it would have done, but it was completely full of oil. So I drained it out and looked at it. It probably only holds 2 gallons of oil, maybe 1.75 gallons or something like that. So, you know, sometimes the book is wrong, I guess would be the moral of the story. You know, I should have kicked the can after I drained it, because it didn't drain very long with that. Even with that quick drain, they drain really slow, and it didn't take very long to drain all the oil out. So I should have kicked the bucket around, and I would have known there wasn't no 3 gallons in there. But you know, it is what it is. So luckily I didn't start it. We might be having some real problems. But overall, it's a really great machine. I'm gonna put some bolts in them pins and power wash the boom, vacuum out the inside of it, kick the cab filters out, and move along. Hopefully this helps you out as far as maybe wanting to purchase it. Oh, I just remember one of the cool features about this is this track feature, right? Stick steer. That's one of the things that they come out with, and it's really nice when you got to transport it a long ways or tracking in a pad or something, instead of, you know, I'm not really used to using my feet because I don't have the hours in the machine, so it's so much easier just to, you know, left, right, up, back, whatever. I don't really like it trying to load it up on the trailer. It's kind of just, you don't have the same feel for it. And I've also noticed when you're using the stick steer and you're driving along and you try to turn, it seems like the machine slows way down, way more than if you was using the pedals. So I don't know if it cuts the power back or what, but it doesn't feel the same as far as the power in wanting to turn. It seems to slow way down. I don't know, it's kind of weird, but it is really nice when you're trying to track something in or you're going a long distance. But I guess if you're used to it, it really doesn't matter, but I thought it was a really cool feature. So quite a bit of room. I mean, you can get pretty comfortable in here. So good luck.